need to be sure to cover. So just want to double check. Are you guys okay with this approach? Mm-hmm.
If you wouldn't mind, if you show them how to create the creative you created for us, that sounds weird. That's a lot of creating, but you made the ad creative, that the winning ad creative was completely 100% AI. So
No, it wasn't
I,
actually.
well, it was not me. It wasn't me talking.
It was
Right?
actually, so the winning ad was mostly manual. I manually created the image, I manually created the headline, and the body copy was Claude.
Well, it's right there. Okay, she's
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah. So, and we're not going to get to generating the creative today. So we're going to do these first two steps. We're going to prepare for AI and brainstorm the angles. I actually think I'm a little bit worried that we won't have time to do all of that, but it's critical that we have that foundation. And I'm happy to kind of talk again at some future date that makes sense. I don't want to dominate your guys' calls, but walk through some of the rest of it as well. Because I think one of the things we talked about in Edge Core is that I would show you guys this process hands on. So I wanted to get a start on that today.
Let's go. And I think this is good because you actually are going to have the ability to use all this stuff, not just in Facebook ads. So this is great. Thanks, Victoria.
Yeah, absolutely. I will say, just to give you a little sneak peek, these are some of the ads that I created to test. There were others, of course, that aren't on here. These just were some of the ones that were AI generated. I tested some that weren't. I tested other ads that were AI generated that aren't on here as well. So this is kind of where we're heading with it. But really, in order to do that, we need to, and you know what, I think it probably does make sense for me just to go over this part of the process really quickly. So the 5 steps process we're going to use, we're first going to prepare for AI. And again, I'm going to fly through these because you have it on your, let's see, where is it? Up here, present. Okay. Yes, present. Okay. So we're going to prepare for AI and then brainstorm angles. These are the 2 that we're going to be focusing on today. And to prepare for AI, these are the things we're going to be creating together today. Again, I'll have a document here in a minute. I don't want you guys to get distracted just yet. But first of all, we're going to do a tone of voice analysis that is going to help us later when we are drafting ad copy, so it really sounds like you or your brand or whatever you're promoting. And by the way, that's important. What you're promoting might be a little different from your overall brand tone of voice. So a lot of times companies or coaches, consultants, they'll do their own tone of voice analysis. You may or may not want to use that for everything. Sometimes a tone of voice for a very specific promotion can feel more natural and targeted in ads and more congruent with your sales page. So we're going to do tone of voice analysis, a detailed customer avatar, a diary entry for that customer that goes very deep, and then show you guys how to really grab your promotion documents to use and do a little bit of your own research as well. And so in reality, you're going to spend way longer than I'm going to spend on some of these things today. I just want to breeze through so we can troubleshoot together, and you can pause and rewind and do this on your own in the future. But this is where we're headed with this. So let me go over again with step 1. Your tone of voice analysis is a very detailed tone of voice analysis. It actually has about 12 different sections. And this is going to be, way better than tone of voice is friendly, something like that. We're really going to dive into 3 different levels, and there are multiple sections of good and bad examples and different levels of analysis on tone of voice. So we're going to start there. We're going to create your detailed avatar for this particular product, a diary entry that goes with that, and I'll show you how to grab your promotional documents as well. There's also a little bit of a section on doing your own research. If we have time, which I'm hoping we do, that's a prompt that's also in the document. And if we have time, we're going to go over to brainstorming the angles. So first, let's start with step number 1. All right, guys, I'm going to, first of all, introduce you to this. Well, you know what? Let me go ahead and do this. I will share this document. I'm going to copy the link. I'm going to put it into chat. There will, of course, be a link for this after, because I know chat goes away after this. So resist the urge, please, to start clicking and going through everything. I will walk you through it. You guys have this for reference. But what I do want to kind of show you here is in this workshop sample, what we're going to do is use the same example sales page. Now, this, you'll notice, is a pretty link. When you click, it's going to expand to look like this. this is not a promotion. There's not affiliate pricing. It's nothing special. It just want to separate you guys out from our actual tracking for Meta ads. So the way that we're doing this is actually just separating it out here. So don't be alarmed when you click on this and it says promotion. I'm not pitching you. This is just our example. If you have your own, feel free to use that as well. So this is, by the way, there's, again, no kickback, no anything. It's just a link that allows me to separate out workshop people from traffic people without having to duplicate an entire funnel and track that. Okay, so this is the sales page. We're going to go over the product we're promoting, so we're all on the same page here, and we can use this as an example walking through. I have some things here that would just be easier for me to provide you guys versus showing you exactly how to do it, but for the most part, we're actually going to dive right in and do this together. So this document has our example documents up here. I'll reference these every so often. We'll have some custom GPTs, and these are some of the tools that we're going to be using. I've summarized some key prompts, but really what we're going to do is actually go step by step. So our step one, prepare for AI, which is our step one, prepare for AI. This is a companion document to go with the presentation I gave at the conference. Then we're going to say, oh, thank you, Diane. I'm glad it's heading in the right direction. She says it's incredible. Whew. We'll see how this works out. But what we're going to do is start by creating a tone of voice together, and we're literally just going to walk through this. I want you guys to feel confident walking through this on your own, and also, again, being able to use examples here so that you can walk through a training example on your own, even if you don't have all of your assets ready to go. Learning the process is more important. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're actually going to start, before we dive in, let me just explain what the offer is, because you would know this. Whether you're doing it for yourself or you're doing this for a client, the first step is, what are you promoting? It's funny, I've owned a Facebook ads agency for over 13 years, and I was always amazed by the number of people who came to me and said, okay, I want to run Facebook ads. I'm like, okay, great. Well, let's take a look at your funnel. Let's take a look at your offer. I'm like, oh, well, we don't have a funnel yet. I'm like, you don't have a funnel yet? Well, that's what ads do. They promote something. Like when someone clicks on the ad, they need to go somewhere. But people think I need revenue, so I need ads to drive revenue, but they skip that whole part about creating the offer. So just as an aside, when you create an offer, or when you think about ads, you think about someone clicks on an ad, they land on your page, they may or may not take action, you follow up, you fulfill. That whole process, start to finish in a funnel, is how you think about it. When you plan a promotion, you actually go from the offer backwards. So you think about your offer, what do you need in order, what information do you need to provide people in order for them to convert to that offer? You work your way to a sales page, and ads are actually the very last thing that you think about. So by the time you're ready to run ads, you should have your funnel in place. So you should have a sales page for this process. As you're getting ready and walking through this, sometimes you can use this process to help brainstorm angles as well for your sales page, but it's really meant for you're about to run ads. Now what do we do with this? Okay, so this is a tool called Webby AI. This is a client of mine, John Schumacher, and John is an amazing webinar strategist. So he has worked, and I'll just scroll down here with, he's worked with Shark Tank brands, and he's had a whole bunch of #1 clients. If you Google webinar consultant, he's actually one of the top results. I checked this myself, he actually is. So he's worked with billion-dollar corporations, a lot of individual coaching consultants. He has years of webinar experience, and he has training programs and high-ticket programs, and he has just launched a tool called Webby AI that allows you to go from zero to completed webinar in under an hour, all with AI and using his proven frameworks. It's pretty incredible, and it's launching for a one-time price, which I think is incredible value, because you can buy it once and use it over and over. And so it's a tool plus training, and not only that, it not only creates your webinar for you, and he has a little walkthrough of it here. It not only creates the webinar, but it can fix an existing webinar that's not converting, and also it actually creates not only, I'm trying to go through here to see if it has it. He does not do a great job on this page of saying it. He actually also, in addition to the webinar, creates social media posts to promote the webinar and a email series to get your existing list to register. So So it's a 5-part email series, social posts across Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Your entire webinar presentation, the text of it, you still need to put it in your own slides, but it gives you the slide template for that and the training. So that's the offer that we're promoting today. With, again, someone who's very reputable in the industry. So with this in mind, we're first going to create a tone of voice. So we're going to open up the tone of voice profiler, and I'm just going to do it right here along with you. And by the way, I'm hoping that this is going to, I have a workaround if this doesn't, if it kind of glitches. I spent hours trying to troubleshoot these GPTs have worked for me for a while, and yesterday I kept getting content failed to load. And I spent so long trying to troubleshoot them, and then I checked some of my other GPTs from other people were giving me the same thing. So if that happens, like this, hit the refresh, and it will, for whatever reason, then load it. So I don't know. I tried troubleshooting. It could be something in mine. I've actually used ChatGPT and troubleshooted every individual component of these guys, and I'm seeing it in other GP2s. It might be mine. So let me know if you guys are seeing it. If you are, don't worry. Just hit the refresh. It'll get you back to this every time. So don't worry about that. Okay, so one of the things that we're going to do is the tone of voice is going to start with an existing writing sample. Again, if you have your own, feel free to use your own. For this one, I'm going to follow along. Now, the writing sample that I'm going to use is, I want it to be specific to this promotion. So specific to this promotion, we're going to go up here to the resources. There's a sales video. So typically what I want to do is use this. I want to use language that's pretty similar, that have that same feel as the sales video that's on the page. Now you may or may not have a sales video. If you do, I strongly suggest using this one. So what I did, and you don't need Descript. This is voice training GPT private and not training OpenAI. It's just a standard GPT, Natalie. I'm not sure. So I don't know if that's maybe Reed can answer. We'll circle back to that. Anyway, I know that you can set that setting on your profile. You can't get into. Oh, I see what you mean. No, it's everybody. So you should be able to. So if I go into Edit GPT, and if I go into Share, oh, that one I didn't set. Well, geez, the others I double checked. I'm so sorry. Thank you for saying that. Okay, try now. There had to be something. That's the only thing we're in business. Yeah, that's what you're saying about not training OpenAI. That would depend on your own API settings on your profile. That's what I was trying to get at as well. But so let me know if you guys are able to open this. Hopefully you can. So that works. Sure. Great. Okay. So again, if that's the only glitch we hit right now, we're in good business. So what we're going to do is provide a sample. So if you have a sales webinar, usually a sales webinar is hosted on Wistia or something like that, and you may not have the luxury of using YouTube to create a transcript. If it's in YouTube already, you can easily grab the transcript, and if you guys, I'm sure you guys know how to do this. I'm just going to click on, and well, you know what? I'm going to go here because I actually did grab some transcripts here, and let's just go to his channel. And if I go into any video right here, let me go ahead and, okay, so as you guys know, if you go and click more, you scroll all the way down, you can show the transcript, and there are plenty of extensions and tools that you can use as well, but I just don't want to assume anything here. You can show the transcript. You can also then toggle the timestamps off, and then you would just kind of grab this and paste it into a document, or you can paste it directly into the GPT. So this one is if you own the webinar and you own the sales, and you can if you own the sales video, you can load it as a private video to YouTube just for the purposes of grabbing a transcript. I use Descript. You don't have to use Descript. It's a paid tool. If you have any other way, there are plenty of ways to grab transcripts, but I just want to be kind of open that that's what I did for grabbing the sales video transcript. I have provided that to you guys as one of the documents here. So what you would do here is go ahead and load this guy, and you're going to save it, and I'm going to just download it as a Word document. be way easier to upload. What I'm going to end up creating is a Google Drive that has my AI input documents, and I'm also going to have a folder on my desktop or hard drive that has the AI input documents. The reason is the documents that I create in Google Drive are easy to share with others. The ones I save locally are easier to upload to AI. So if you guys just want to go ahead and open this and save it as a document, we can use it in this particular tone of voice as well, or you can watch me do that. Now, what I also did, and you can choose to do this as well, is to add this. I went and grabbed, he had some YouTube videos that were already talking about WebAD AI, and I took some of those, the latest ones of that. I grabbed all of the transcripts of those, not all of them, I chose 4 videos. I copy and pasted that transcript using that trick that I just showed you about taking out the timestamps, and I just put it into a document here, and you can see I separated it out into videos 1, 2, 3, and 4. The reason I did this, sometimes I just use the sales video. This sales video is pretty short, it's just a few minutes long, and I wanted more examples of talking, and I think when you're thinking about this, think about, does the little snippet that you're using give you enough variation to really create a detailed tone of voice prompt? So I thought I needed a little bit more. It's totally your call. You can test it both ways as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm also going to take this and I'm going to save this as a document. Okay, so now let me go back to my tone of voice prompt, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to upload these 2 files. So I'm going to go into downloads. I'm going to grab those 2 files, upload these guys, and again, you can have your own samples. It can be a blog post, it can be YouTube's transcripts, whatever you like. But I'm going to go ahead and upload these guys. It's going to start with what it calls a micro level analysis here. If you upload more than one, it's going to ask if you want to analyze both together. I did this on purpose. When I first was testing this GPT, I uploaded 2 files, and it was saying, it started analyzing one all on its own and then the other one. And that's not what we want here. I really want it to look holistically at whatever I upload. Maybe I provide some text, maybe I give it a link, maybe I upload files. I want it to look at everything together. So I asked the GPT to stop if you upload more than one thing and ask, do you want them to analyze them together or not? I do want to analyze it together, so I'm going to say together. So it's going to treat that as one sample. So now it's going to go ahead and... Oh, good question, Polly. Should it be our company voice or our personal voice? So as this is kind of chugging along, that's a great question to answer. You want it to be the voice that you want to use with this promotion with the ads. If you are an expert speaker and you have a product like John, everything for him, his company and brand are pretty much merged. If you're working corporately, then it would probably be your company voice. If you're somewhere in the middle where it's a large-ish company but not a super large company that really says we must have a brand voice, I would actually probably use something from your blog or something where there's still a personal touch to it, but definitely use the sales video on your page, not the sales text. This is important. I would not use the sales text on your page. Someone has likely used AI to generate that, and so if you're just using that as input, the sales text can really send your tone of voice off in the wrong direction. But for whatever reason, maybe you still used the AI to generate a video script. So that's why if there is a video script, I'd like to supplement it with something that's a little more natural, like a YouTube video. But sometimes if the script sounds kind of off the cuff, or I know that it wasn't overly scripted, just the sales video on its own is okay. And Allie, that's a good question. If it's a sample dialogue between 2 people, is there a way to have it focus on one person and not the other? In Descript, they allow you to label speakers. So I haven't tried this, but my first thought would be to use a tool that labels speakers in the transcript and then instruct the GPT to only look at that speaker, or spend a little bit extra time. May not need the whole transcript, take a good chunk of the transcript and just delete out those speaker blocks of the other speaker. It's best if it's just the one speaker and you're doing most of the work outside of the GPT. Okay, so already look at this first part of the analysis here. It's going into what's called micro-level analysis. So it's giving us good and bad examples of vocabulary, grammar, etc. It says, do you want to go to the next section? I'm just going to click yes. Now it does this in 3 steps. Now the reason it does this in 3 steps is there's so much detail. If I do it all in one, the later analysis is really generic and bad. So doing it in 3 steps allows us to still get really good analysis on each one of these. So you just need to click or enter yes a couple times, so you'll have all 3 steps here. And what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to go over here and let's see, we'll just go into Drive. I'm going to create a new document and I'm going to create, let's see, here we go. I'm going to create a Google document and I'm going to call this Tone of Voice. Now I would have a folder, of course. Now what I like to do is here, this is just a little tip. If there is a sales page, I would put the sales page at the top. It's going to save you from having to retype your offer later. You don't have to do that, but this is something that's a little bit of that's a tip. And we're going to go and just enter this Webby AI. One moment. Okay, just coughing here. So this is, I'm entering just the top URL. Now I'm going to go back and it's going to ask me at the end of this, would you like this summarized down into a guide? Don't do that. You don't want it watered down. You want actually the details. In this GPT, I also tried to just have it say, okay, take all of these and put it into one document. Even that, if it already had the 3 sections, even when it put it into one document, it kept dropping pieces. And I kept saying, don't drop this piece, add this one. I finally gave up. Just do it manually, right? It's not that hard. So what we're going to do is actually go all the way to the top. And I'm just going to start right here. I'm going to go down and copy the first little bit to the tone of voice and paste that guy. I like there to be this line, you know, it makes it easier to read and it's very AI, but I don't really mind. It's an internal document. We're not trying to show this to anybody externally. And so we copied that. Now I'm going to go through and I'm just going to start with kind of number 4. Go and copy this guy, tone of voice, and again, I like this little divider in between both for skimming. And now I'm going to go and grab 7 through the end here. So, all right. So now I have a tone of voice. Now I'm keeping it generic on purpose just because I have a step later that gives you a little template. And if you call the document tone of voice, you don't have to change as many things when you use the templated prompt later. But usually, if I'm doing this for myself, and I know I don't mind tweaking, I'll say tone of voice dash Webby AI or whatever it is, the product or the promotion that I'm doing. The other thing that I'll do is I will save everything I create here. In fact, let me just go ahead and do this. I'm going to create something here, and I'm gonna go here, and I'm gonna create a folder, AI input docs. This is gonna make it really easy for you guys, and I have some lessons learned here, so trust me on these things about this organization. It seems very fastidious and detail-oriented in it, but you're going to thank yourself later if you have these things organized when you're trying to work with the models, and you can just grab these files really easily. So the other thing that I would do is I would actually download this guy. So I'm going to download a Word version of this, and I'm just going to put it into, I'm going to, let's see the best way, move my Zoom windows out of the way here. And I realize we're getting towards the end, so I'm just going to end of our call here, but I do want to get through at least one of these guys. So I'm going to save this into an AI inputs. So I'm going to save it as, and
you can keep going, Victoria. As people need to leave, they can leave at noon. But I would bet money there's some people that want you to just keep going, as it can hopefully help a lot of people. So go ahead and take me. But guys, feel free to jump off right at noon. So.
Okay, great. I told you this could go very wrong in my mind. I'm like, I bet I could breeze through this. Let these guys take a little bit of time. Okay, but I'm going to go ahead and save tone of voice. What I'm doing is I'm creating a folder on Google Drive and a folder on my hard drive that are the same and have these documents. Again, one is for sharing and talking to the client, referencing online. It's easier to do that. One is going to be super fast to upload to the AIs later. Okay, so with that, we now have step one. We've created our tone of voice. So we have a super detailed tone of voice that is going to really help you not sound generic, and it's really going to help stay with the person or the brand that we were looking at. So this is, and I'm really glad that someone asked that question, because this is a choice that you make when you start to advertise or you're preparing your promotion. We talked about kind of thinking through and strategizing, where you are still, of course, in control. You're the band leader, and all these tools are really, you're the conductor for all of these things, and you need to decide: do you want to use your brand, your overall company type of tone of voice? In which case, you might grab some corporate materials, maybe a style guide, something like that. It's better if you use an actual writing sample. It could be the promotion, like we just did here. I grabbed the sales video, and I grabbed YouTube videos that are kind of already about that topic. Or it could be personality, where again it's more like personal posts on a blog, or maybe even social posts. You can use social posts for this as well. So whatever you think is going to be to align well with what you're advertising. Okay, so we're actually already through. So we look at this. We created the tone of voice. We used the GPT. We went through these. We copy and pasted each into a Google Doc. We saved it to AI inputs, and we exported it to a folder that's also called AI inputs. So before I move on, any other questions that I haven't covered for tone of voice? Okay, seems like we're pretty good. We're pretty set. Awesome. Okay, so now we're going to go and move on to generating an emotional avatar. So one thing I'm going to do, just because I think it's going to be easier for you guys to follow, is I'm going to close out some of these other things here. Okay, keep it nice and tiny. So let's go back over here. I'm going to go to this GPT. Now please let me see if you guys can see this guy. It should be, I should have set the permissions appropriately on this one, but double check me. And if someone could just double check and let me know, I'm going to keep going. I'll kind of look over at chat and make sure you guys can see it. And oh, perfect. Thank you. So once again, if you get this content failed to load when you press this thing, don't worry about it. But what we're going to do is, it's super easy. All it's going to say, yeah, content failed to load. Anyway, no worries. Refresh. There it goes. So it's just your target market. And so I'm going to say this is for coaches, consultants. This is really for anyone who owns a business or anyone who wants to create a webinar. It's not just for coaches, consultants. But for this promotion, I'm looking at, I'm going to say coaches, consultants, experts is who I really want to focus on. And then what exactly are they evaluating? And I'm going to say Webby AI, a tool that will help people create a webinar from scratch in 60 minutes or less using AI. And then it's not a bad idea, actually, to go ahead and enter a URL for this. So let's see. I don't think it's going to mind that it's a kind of a tracking URL, but let's just see. So I'm going to just leave it at that. Okay. So I love this. So now we're already into our next step here. So customer avatar, the knowledge entrepreneur who's tired of launch paralysis. Oh, that's good. So we can see here that it is a very detailed avatar. So we'll have our name, our age, the role of life situation, income range. It's not very consistent. The tech comfort, and I can tell you from looking at his audience, this is pretty dead on for a lot of the coaches, consultants he works with. There's a range. There's, like I said, he works from individuals to big companies, but also people who are very tech savvy. But a lot of coaches, they're really focused on their content. They're not that tech savvy. So this is pretty dead on in terms of their avatar and common traits. So we have daily routines, snapshot, life snapshot. We have image prompt, just in case you wanted to create it. Core problem. So what is their biggest issue? Emotional triggers. We have fears and conflicts. What have they tried that hasn't worked? Kind of what are they moving away from? What do they want now versus what do they aspire? What does life look like after that solution? Who do they become as a new identity? And then some sound bites. So what are kind of they saying to themselves? What are they hoping for? Beliefs and objections. How to really position the product. And these are just kind of some ideas here And this, all the way through number 9. So very detailed customer avatar. So what we're going to do is you read through. Obviously, if you want to make changes, you are the captain of the ship. Make any changes that you want to make. But this is going to be the customer avatar we go with. And I'm going to go ahead and say that I've read through all of these guys. So once again, I'll go here to, I should have kept my drive open, but that's okay. I'm going to just create a new document here, new Google Doc, and we're going to say customer avatar. Customer, avatar, Webby AI. Okay, and so I'm going to go ahead and just name this customer avatar. I'm going to keep it generic again just because of the prompt later, but feel free, if I were doing this on my own, I would probably leave that Webby AI up there, and I just like to see what that is. Nothing too fancy, but just at a glance, I want to be able to kind of look at that. And the other thing, again, what I like to do is, just in case it does help, is add this link here as well for reference. Now, the other thing that I like to do, just because I think it really helps to humanize, now the AI doesn't really care, but one of the things that we ask the AI to create is an image. So I like to go ahead and just use this here. Now the next thing I'm going to say is create an image, and just enter that prompt. So we'll see what happens here. But while that is kind of chugging, we'll see if it continues to chug while I look away. Sometimes it stalls out a little if I don't stay on the tab. But now what we've done, let's just go over what we've done here. We've generated the emotional avatar. Now again, if you get that content failed to load, just refresh. Excuse me. Sorry, getting a little bit hoarse. So then what we're going to do is copy that avatar into a Google Doc. We're going to save this to our AI inputs. So let's go ahead and we're going to move this to our AI inputs document here. We have our tone of voice. We're going to move this. And I'm also we're going to wait for one more thing, and then I'm going to download it here as a document as well. So let's go ahead and go see what our avatar looks like. Yeah, it stalls out if I don't stay on this page. But what I like about this is it just feels like it humanizes it. The AI doesn't care at all. But a lot of times you're going to be sharing this with your clients if you're a service provider, or even yourself. If you've ever created an avatar, it's strange, the psychological impact. But if you have a person, oh my goodness, she's really, really sad. But if you have, what I would typically do is make her happier. Like, I'm going to stop and say, create an image, make her happy. Like, she's sad because she needs our solution, but like, she's not that sad. Good gracious, let's just try again there. But anyway, so going back to that, if you've ever tried to create an email or copy, if you actually put the customer avatar document in front of you and you can look at a person's face, psychologically, it makes a huge difference. So I like to do this when I'm creating any kind of copy. In fact, when I was in corporate years ago, we would actually print this out and put it in, put it around the office, put it in our cubes, things like that. So I think it can be very helpful. So with this, and of course I probably should not have done that. Well, we're going to just use a new step anyway. So I'll come back to that. But one of the things I like to do, which we'll do later, is I like to put it right at the top. So I'm going to copy and paste, download that image, and put it right here at the top of the avatar document. I don't put it down below, like it would make more sense to put it after her name or something like that. But I'd like to be able to go back in here and just copy and paste everything if I want it, and I don't have to worry about having the image in there. But anyway, that kind of gives me the best of both worlds if I put the image in there afterwards. So now we have our customer avatar document here. And if I go over to my hard drive and in downloads, I see that it is, let me go ahead and I'm going to download this. So it's in downloads, and I'm going to go here, and this is our customer avatar. I just downloaded. I'm just going to put it in that AI input documents. Okay. So any questions on on that step, let me just go through what we did. So we used the emotional avatar. We copied the results into a Google document. We saved it for later. We're optionally creating an image, and we're exporting the document, saving it to that AI inputs document folder. All right. Are you guys still with me? I see kind of quiet in the chat. Everything's cool?
Yeah, I've got some questions and I can see.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
So when we were on the summit a couple months or weeks ago, however long it's been, one of the things that one of the other presenters talked about was like an empathy map that he used for creating Google Ads. This almost seems like an empathy map on steroids. But I wasn't sure if should we still look at putting an empathy map? It seems like it's kind of accounting for in the overall of the document. Would love your 2 cents on that.
That's a great question. I've tried with other documents as well. Sometimes more document. I create one other document that we're going to do here, which is a diary that really goes deep. Sometimes too many documents I feel can confuse it a bit. It almost does better with just a few, but definitely test and see. I'm always testing. What I found is funny. I was working on this promotion and I got so distracted. There's so many awesome things, awesome new things all the time. So I just found this great new tool and prompt for like a neuro mapping, like same kind of, I don't know if it was this, it wasn't the same empathy map, I'm sure, but it was going down, these psychological pathways of how our brain processes. And I got through all this stuff and I used it, and it actually, I didn't like the output as much as these guys. So there are probably better things than these guys. I just test and compare and go with what I like, but I probably wouldn't upload more than like 1 or 2 documents. In this one, I'm doing 2. We're going to do the avatar and the diary entry. And if you wanted to try something else, maybe do just the avatar and your empathy map, or just the empathy map, but kind of test them out. It takes a little bit longer to go through it the first time. It's pretty fast once you have been through this a couple times. It's easy to test it, but be careful of just loading up with all these different frameworks. It can be a little bit confusing. Yes. Okay, so Natalie asked a basic question. These AI inputs, when we want to apply voice avatar, do we just upload and reference it? Yeah, we're going to get there. So that's in the prompt. We actually, whenever I start, we're going to go to both Claude and ChatGPT. We're going to give a tiny little prompt, and we're going to upload these documents as input documents as knowledge for that chat thread to reference. And anytime that chat thread starts to run out, I can create a new one. I don't often create projects. Sometimes I do, but projects are a little bit harder to share, and I like to create maybe a custom GPT or just have separate threads. Sometimes I'll create a project. It's really up to you. But no matter what, having these files to upload either at the start of a thread or as reference as a knowledge base for a project can really help, both in Claude and ChatGPT. So that was very good. All right, guys. Any other questions? Okay, she's not perfect, but you know what? She's a lot better than that one person that was coming up. So I'm going to go ahead and grab her, and I won't update that, but here I'm just going to go ahead and insert her image because I think it's fun. So we're going to upload her, and there we go. Oh, she's huge, so just make her a little smaller. Okay, so this is Rachel Green. You know what? I feel like I know Rachel Green already better. All right, so now we are finished with our avatar. We're going to go on to the next stage here. And the next stage is just going to be the customer entry, diary entry. Now, the diary entry really goes deep on the pain points. I added something here just because while we're in the pain points, it's kind of fun to get a glimpse of some of the emotional snippets. I'm going to warn you, we're not really going to use those emotional snippets. I'm going to keep them in the back of my mind. I'm going to separate them out for the rest of the process. So if that's confusing for you, just ignore the snippets. I kind of like to get a little bit of an idea of where this diary entry and avatar are taking me. So here we're going to go ahead and open our diary entry generator and let me know if you guys are able to access that. And once again, it's probably going to go, there we go, our favorite thing here. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and paste the customer avatar or upload a file. So we have our file. We're going to go ahead and upload our, let's see, we have our, make sure I have the right, the AI input documents. Our customer avatar, we're going to upload this guy. And we're going to now create the diary entry. do here, and the way that GPT is framed, is that we want the target market. So I want to kind of say, repeat back to me who the avatar is, and also what the product does. I've noticed that if I don't do this, sometimes it's not quite as accurate. So it can go off the rails a little bit. So just repeat back. Does this look good? It's a knowledge market entrepreneurs, done for you. Yep. So that all looks good. So it looks good. I'm just gonna say looks good. Okay. So Polly asked if you have something that's got multiple personas, do you do this for each persona? Yes, I do. Although keep in mind when you first start testing with meta ads, I would probably, what I tend to do, excuse me, is look at the page overall and get an avatar for that promotion. I've also gone way deep with clients where I do for the 5 stages of the marketplace sophistication, the 5 stages of awareness by Eugene Schwartz. Then I'll do a persona, a customer avatar, and a diary entry for each one of the 5 stages. Now, that can be good. However, when you're doing meta ads, part of it is you don't really know exactly who that persona is. Now, if it's distinct enough to where, like for this one, I went ahead and said that my target audience is coaches and consultants. And by the way, you probably just saw my sweet cat go through. You may still see a tail here in a moment. But I said coaches and consultants. This could be for small business owners. It could be for corporate marketing departments. This tool is not just for coaches and consultants. I chose to do that because I know for my campaign that that's who I'm going to be targeting. But so in that case, we already are. Sorry, that's Bella. But we already are, in a sense, choosing a persona. But if you were going to be like starting right from scratch, you can give me an overall persona, give me the 5 stages of awareness, and for each of the 5 stages of awareness, then what is a avatar and a diary entry, and then you can use that to create various kinds of content, not just ads. But for ads, I typically try to think about it ahead of time and guide it down this one path, and then let my ad testing do the rest of finding the audience. But you can try it both ways. Okay, so this is, notice that it comes here. Now I wanted to point this out to you guys. This opens up in a document because it's quite long. So this is a canvas area, and boy, this is like doom and gloom stuff, but it is really getting to the pain point, and this kind of stuff really drives our Facebook ads, which is great. So talking about the sticky notes, this webinar, I've been working on it since February, it's June, I tell myself I'm close. I won't go into detail too much here, you can read it for yourself, but man, it is deep and full of pain, which as marketers, sadly, is kind of what we're looking for. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and save this guy. So I'm just going to make a copy, and we're going to call this customer diary entry. And I'm going to, once again, say customer diary entry. Okay. So diary entry. Oops. And I'm going to go ahead and just delete all of our avatar out of here. Oh, well, let's see. Sorry, go all the way up. All right, so now we have our diary entry, and this is our customer diary entry, diary entry, diary entry. Okay, so now I'm going to make sure to move this into our input docs as well. And yeah, AI input docs, we have our diary entry, and I'm going to download this guy as a Word document and go and move it. So our, let's see here, we need to do documents. Just to refresh it, diary entry goes into input docs. Great. So now we have that, and let's go back to the GPT. So one thing you may not notice, this opened up in a canvas. If I close this out, then I can continue to scroll down, and these are some emotional sound bites. This is what I'm talking about. I like this personally because I get a little bit of a taste of, hey, are we heading in the right direction? Before I continue to go down through this process, are we heading in, is this kind of already sounding like the person that we want to target, and some things that we want to highlight? So I'm so tired of being a person who says I'm launching soon and never does. Like, ouch, boy, does that hit home. It's like I'm afraid of succeeding or failing, or maybe both. Like, why does it feel like launching webinars, running Mount Everest barefoot. My clients believe in me, so don't I. I keep pretending I'm almost ready, but I'm just paralyzed. I can't tell if I need therapy or tech support. But that's great. I feel like that needs to be a meme. Every blank slide feels like a mirror reflecting my self-doubt. I lie in bed doom scrolling success stories that make me feel like a ghost to my own business. If someone would just tell me what to say, I'd be unstoppable. God, I hate this feeling. So, I mean, those are pretty good, right? I mean, we're kind of getting into the right direction here. I'm happy with where this is going. I can see that avatar that generated this diary entry, we're gonna get some good angles from here. And these are things that I may want to go back and reference later, but I don't want to save these now as AI input documents because this can actually hurt the brainstorming process later. If I find that I'm not getting as good as stuff here, I might go back in and in conversation, bring up these emotional sound bites again. All right, so now we have our diary entry, the snippets, which we've, again, chosen to ignore. But now what we're going to do is create some reference documents. Now let's go back. I want to orient us to where we are right now. We've created our tone of voice. We've created our avatar. We've created the diary entry. But now we need to say, what are we actually selling? So, hey, here's our brand. Here's who we're selling to and their deepest, darkest desires. But what are we promoting right now? Like, it's very important for ad angles, right? So we need to give it details about the product. This can come from the sales page video itself. A lot of times when you're offering something, it is, you have a signature product, and so your main website is relevant for something like this. If you have a main website that's not as relevant for the promotion that you're doing right now, I wouldn't worry about the main website. So just do the sales page and the sales video. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to go and go to this, Gobblebot is my favorite scraper. If you have a scraper, feel free to use whatever one you like. Gobblebot is super easy. And we are going to go to this link again and go to Gobblebot. And all you do is drop a URL in here and say Gobble it. And let's see if it has a problem with that guy. So all it does is now you can download this all-in-one file. So when you download this all-in-one file, one of the things I've learned is if I give my files descriptive names, it's better for referencing in our conversations later with AI. So all I'm going to do here is I'm going to save this and look how fast that was to do that. So I'm going to go into our AI input documents and I'm going to say sales page, right? And it's going to be salespage.txt. That's great. So I've already grabbed my sales page. Now, the other thing that I mentioned is, to describe it, is if there is a sales video transcript. Well, we already have that. So Sean asked a good question. Are we creating everything with John Schumacher's link, or is that just one example to get started? This example is an entire promotion, and so whatever link you start with, you want to use throughout the whole promotion, because all of these steps build on each other. So if you have your own, please use your own, but I don't want you to be paralyzed from learning the process because you don't have anything to work with. So if you want to use John's, you can kind of track along with us and say, hey, would this be a good person for this promo? That's what I do as an ads manager, right? These aren't my products, but I look at it and through experience, through conversations with AI, through testing with Meta, I'm teasing out what are the right angles, who are we going to target, what are their pain points, what messaging works. And so you can use the same approach with your own offers, but just be sure you're using the same thing the whole way through. And really it all starts with a sales page and then creating these different assets that we're talking about. So hopefully that makes sense. Sean, you okay with that? Hopefully that was a good answer. Okay, great. Good question. I appreciate that. So we already have the sales, our video transcript here. So I'm going to load that and just be sure that I download this guy as well. So I'm going to download this as a Word document. And I'm going to open this guy. And I'm going to change and just say sales video transcript. So I'm going to now, I have to say that I can edit it. And remember, this is one that I grabbed with Descript. You can use anything. You can use the YouTube, uploading it as a private as a private video and grabbing a transcript. You can use any file to grab the transcript. I happen to use Descript, but it is a paid program. So you don't need to do that, but that is an option. So I'm going to now say sales video transcript, and I'm going to put it in our AI inputs folder. So today, AI inputs, there we go. All right, and we already have that online as well. So let me get rid of this guy and go back. I'm going to move this to our AI inputs. So I'm going to move it to the AI inputs document. So we have our customer avatar, diary entry, tone of voice, and we have our sales video. Now, one of the things I'm also going to do is I'm going to go into our...
Do we need to go?
I'm going to put it in our Edge Core here. So one moment. Excuse me. Edge Core.
Okay, I'm just going to leave the video going
So
that I'm recording.
into our AI inputs documents folder.
Because...
Notice I have everything that we've
Okay,
worked
let's
on,
go.
but that scraped file from Gogglebot, it went directly to my hard drive, and I want it to be on here as well. So I'm going to go ahead and upload that file. So I'm going to go here to our AI inputs, and I'm going to upload the sales page. All right. So let's go back now to where we are, and we have our tone of voice, customer avatar. We have for the sales page, we use Gogglebot. This is where we talk about, you can save it a sales page or product name sales page. You can also use your sales video text and save them all to AI input. So we're through steps 4 out of 5 for just preparing for AI. I'm going to give you guys a cheat sheet and just talk through how to do this. We're not going to go into a lot of detail. I don't often have the luxury of having something that are existing testimonials or something that's a direct match of testimonials. But we'll talk through this if you do. But before we go here, I just wanted to kind of once again say where we are. So our key deliverables, we've uploaded all of these guys. We've gathered them together. We're now at this step 5, which is our own research. So back here, our step 5 walkthrough here is optional. So I say optional. You should be doing your own research anyway. How much of that you then feed the AI is up to you. And it goes through that same thing about, it may or may not be too much information for the AI. So you can play with it, whether you want to upload this additional things or just keep in mind for you as a lens to look at the information that AI gives you back to say what's a good result or what's not a good result. So this one, a couple ways that I like to do this. If you have testimonials, gathering them is a great way to go. So what I did is from the sales page, John has some testimonials that are on the sales page here, and I grabbed these guys and made put them in our spreadsheet so that this is a new product. He only has 5 testimonials, but he has many testimonials from people who've worked with him over the years. So what I did is I grabbed these 5, and I want to make a distinction to AI, which is why I'm using a spreadsheet, of the product that we're talking about. So I want the AI to know if it is just his webinar coaching overall or if it's the product. And I'm going to be real specific about who the customer is. And if I have the information about a little bit of background about who's talking, I just really look at the information that's available and as much as possible give that to the AI. And we're going to go next to some forums, but this one is, you can see here just Webby AI. I went to his main website, and the main website here, and he has sprinkled throughout his website, he has a lot of different testimonials. He also has a testimonials page. Excuse me.
Victoria, do you mind if I synthesize something real quick?
Sure.
You guys are probably following just fine. What she's showing you in the first step, why is the first step such a detailed thing? When we weren't converting with the AI Edge Summit, the digital summit, everyone has an opinion. If the button doesn't look good, or that image is blurry, or why is Matt Zimmerman in there, all this sort of stuff. You know what it was? It was the copy. That's it. So when she's preparing for AI, she's showing you that it was the copy. And when we changed the copy, we started having people rolling in. And so just so you guys are aware, if it seems like, wow, this is step 1, the prep is the Facebook ad. If you prep it right, the brainstorming angles and the generating the ads, step 3, 4, and 5 is just going to be a breeze for you, and your ads will convert because you put the work in. So that's just what mindset for you. Why step 1 is such a crucial thing is the research, and all the gurus do it. Frank Kern, Perry Belcher, everyone says, who's your target market, and what are their feelings, and what do they want? So go ahead, Victoria. I just wanted to plug that this is an important process.
Thank you so much. And by the way, you'll notice this is also the one where it has the most tools, right? It has the most tools. It has the most prep. I'm giving you guys the quick version. I'll often spend a lot of time on this. AI has shortened my time. I would spend a day or two doing nothing but research and, trolling through forums and looking through Facebook ads and going to the ads library. I'll still do that on top of these things because I, as the captain, need to know the market and need to know what people are saying to really gauge whether the AI is giving me good results or not. So you'll still do some research on top of this. I'm kind of giving you the quick and dirty. In an hour, we've already created a bunch of these documents. But if it seems really dry and just very rote and methodical, bear with it through this. And Andy, thank you for saying that. You're exactly right. Everything else is going to feel like magic because you put in all the work up front. Okay, thank you, Ryan. He says nothing boring here. I appreciate that. I'm a little bit worried you guys are nodding off or like nails on a chalkboard here going, oh my gosh, when's she going to be done? But we're getting there. So close. So we have the testimonials. So that's how I gathered the testimonials. What I wanted to say on here is he has some video testimonials. I actually downloaded. There's a great little website downloader called Video Download Helper, and you can download. Let me move this. You can download videos from pages, and I can just go download, and like grab all of his videos right here. And that is Website Download Helper. And so I can grab all of his testimonial videos, and then they're all in one bunch in my downloads folder. I go to Descript, I upload all of those at once, and it'll transcribe them all at once. So it's a really quick way to go ahead and get all of the videos that you need from the pages. And what I'm going to do from that is here, as you go to webinar coaching, you'll see some of them are pretty long. A lot of these is what wasn't text on his site. I actually transcribed all of those videos. So I transcribed some were like a longer podcast type of interview, and then others were shorter testimonial videos. Oh, you'll see it, my senior kitty, 14, he's an old guy. That was Winston, if you could see him. So that is where we are on this. So I have this as well as an example. So I'm gonna go ahead and move this. Winston has the wisdom. He does. I'm gonna move this here for our example. So we're gonna have this. Now this is a very important piece here. In our AI input folder, what we want to do is I'm going to open this guy, even though I already have it open, but would have saved it. So I'm going to download it, and this is very important for AI that I'm going to download it as a CSV file. So it's still loading. I didn't need to open it again, so let me just go over here because that's already open. So let me download it. You're going to want to choose a comma separated values. So download it as a CSV. And in the CSV, this is what you're now going to add to your inputs folder here. So we have our AI inputs, and just to keep it nice and easy, I'm going to rename this guy. Oh, come on. There it is, rename, and I'm going to say example reviews, and just get rid of the sheet 1. Okay. As you're doing that, a CSV will only download one sheet. So when you're doing your review gathering, don't create multiple tabs, because when you download it as a CSV, it'll only show the current one that you're looking at. If you do have multiple tabs, go and download each separate tab as its own CSV file. I just found it easier to put it all in one. Okay. Now, we've done customer reviews. This is something that we could do. I'm not going to go too deep into this, but if you go to Perplexity, let's say you don't have customer reviews, it's brand new, like Webby AI, there's really no other software like it that I know of. I think people are creating some things, but this is pretty awesome what John has put together, I think. So I don't really know of a lot of good places to go and grab competitive reviews or testimonials or things like that. So one of the things that I like to do, and this again is part of my research, whether we use it in the AI or not, is something else. But what I like to do is just to say here, go to Perplexity, and I like Perplexity because it really does a great job of looking through forums. And it's funny, I like cats on parade. Good gracious. What specific issues do? I'm going to say coaches, consultants, and experts post on forums on websites like Reddit and other about creating webinars from scratch to sell their courses. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do this. Now, it's going to go through and look at all of the life coaching, all these different subreddits. Sam Wright says the catwalk, it is. So, all right. Yeah, look at this. They're curious about effective webinar scripts, and this is great for us, right? They're curious about effective webinar scripts because our tool creates a webinar script. They don't have to worry about that. It creates a sales script, what to put on the slides, the call to action timing, and how to create and how to highly convert. That's great. People are worried about the problems that we're solving. That's awesome. So, feedback, that's post surveys, how to keep webinars interactive, best practices for ideal length. That's great. They don't have to worry about that. So I'm really feeling good about this. Now, this is something that right now for me, I use Facebook Ads Library and Reddit as a way to educate myself so I can look at the output from AI. I'm not going to put this into the AI. If you didn't have anything else, you may want to actually go in, don't look at the summary, but go into one of these actual subreddits and use and this is actually a marketing piece, so I wouldn't do this. This is someone's marketing blog, but you often find actual words from someone on the subreddit that you can copy and paste and use. Because what we're trying to do here, the goal of this is to get real world language. And this is why I say, note exactly what product's being referenced, and also use the words exactly, don't summarize it. So that's the goal of this. All right. So now we are finally through all of the input files. So let me go, and we have our input documents, we have our avatar and diary entry, we have our sales page and the sales video, tone of voice, and voice of the customer for real, like actual example reviews. So with that, we are finally able to, we've prepared for AI, right? So we have our transcripts, and we're going to go back to the beginning where we list what's really in here. And we've done it. Finally, we have our analysis. We have, how are we going to talk? Who are we selling to? What are we selling? And how are people talking about it already? That's the packet of documents that we're going to now use to go and generate angles. So just let me pause real quick. I know we're over time, and we just have one little piece to go in this. I'm not going to spend too long because it's kind of now you're going to be I'm going to show you how to generate some angles and then some things to think about. But, thank you, Natalie says, also good. Good. I'm glad you guys are still tracking. Like I said, it's not a very active chat. I'm getting paranoid. So I'm glad you guys are still tracking and with me. So we are almost there, taking it in. I love that. So finally, we are ready to move on to step 2 and start brainstorming some angles. All right. Now, I'm going to look at the slides here for a moment because there are a couple different ways to do this, and I want you to have an idea of where we're going so that it'll make a little more sense to you as I go through this next step. There's only a couple other things we're going to enter. We're probably 10 minutes away tops from being done. So don't worry, we are getting there. All right, so we have our going into angles. The whole point of this step is we're going to collaborate with AI. And I say collaborate because we're going to ask it back and forth just like a brainstorming partner, and we can do this in a couple different ways. So I can go angles first and say, hey, give me some angles that I can use for all of these things. Or I can say, hey, give me a couple sample ads. Now, angles are short and easy to create. Ads are a little bit longer. So I might ask for 10 angles at once, or I might start with a couple different ads at once. So for instance, this is the prompt, but I've updated it for you guys, and it's in our document. So I need your help as a high converting meta ads copywriter. I often say Facebook instead of meta, but it's meta, to craft 3 different ads. Now in this case for AI Edge, I went ads first. I often go angles first. It really just depends. I suggest trying both ways. But you can say, I need your help as a high converting ads copywriter to craft 3 different ads that'll promote our offer and use the attached documents for reference. Customer avatar, diary entry, sales information, this is the sales page video, and the tone of voice. All of those things we just created, and then plus the reviews would be here as well. And I've created this prompt for you guys. I'm going to go back to that in a minute, but before I do, what we're going to get out of this, and in this particular one I started with Claude, but Claude or ChatGPT, if you ask for an ad first, they actually will tell you what angle they're using for the ad most often. So even if you ask for ads, you're going to get angles, but it's going to give you more information about that, so you can really like already see where this angle would kind of end up as an ad. And you can say, oh, give me 3 more variations of that, or give me other angles based on this. So it really is this back and forth of Claude will give you longer, more natural English kind of, and you'll see this in a minute, kind of text. ChatGPT gives you something a little shorter, punchier. So I use the same prompt in Claude, and now let's take a look in ChatGPT. And this is just showing that I still, as we created new pages of our, Andy mentioned, here, let me go back. Andy mentioned that our sales page wasn't converting. So as our sales page updated, I kept repeating these processes, right? So I'd go back and research new angles based on the things that were working. So it's very iterative. You don't just, the angles from here on out, angles and copy, or angles, add copy, and images, I don't just do once. All of our base documents we do once. Everything else, if anything changes and we have new winners, I might go back and reevaluate and use that to inform my conversations. So this is just me showing that I continued to match the split test pages and go back and re-engage with AI. But on the brainstorming, I took this is the exact same prompt that I used with Claude, the exact same documents, and I also entered it into ChatGPT. And here are the results. So it still gives me on the ads, it'll give me a kind of the angle, it'll say what the angle is, and it'll give me text. So what did you guys notice? Right? So on Claude, the results are very long, English, long form text, not very short and punchy, not a lot of emojis. ChatGPT, short, punchy bullets, a lot of emojis. You may have a personal preference, but I can tell you, you need to test to see what converts. I prefer Claude. Very often, the ChatGPT approach works better and converts better. So you can try asking for ad copy first. You'll get angles too. You can try just asking for angles. You may want to shorten Claude's replies. That long text doesn't always convert the best in Meta, but you still try it. You might need to ask ChatGPT to tone it down with the emojis or be less salesy. A lot of times, like ChatGPT, there are exclamation points all over the place and emojis, and I'll manually strip out the exclamation points, take away some of the emojis, or just ask ChatGPT to do it for me. But be open to testing everything. Don't let your personal preferences get in the way. I can't tell you how many times I would have bet something wouldn't convert, and I get proved wrong by the data. So let the data tell you what is going to work. And really, you're the most important component to all of this. So really, the research that you've done, everything you've done in step 1, reading your own research, uploading the documents, that's going to put you in a position of being able to read these things and see if they're good or not. So let's go back now and see actually how to do step number 2, which from here is really just a couple prompts. So like I said, we're super close to wrapping up. And actually, so yeah, good question. So it says, do you usually use that much primary text in Facebook ads? Actually, yes and no. So long form text can convert really well. A lot of times you'll see, especially in the coaching consultant space, it really depends on the industry and the niche. But for experts where you need to have more of like it's a personal brand or you really want to have a connection, a lot of time long form copy works really well. For e-commerce, short and sweet works better, even more so if you don't have to say see more. So it really highly depends on the niche and what you're selling. Definitely test both. Every now and then, for instance, I have an e-commerce client and we're selling something where it's like an EMF sticker. It blocks cell phone, the magnetic field from electronic devices like microwave, cell phones, refrigerators. And you put this little sticker on there and it kind of blocks the transmission. Supposedly good for health. We have a long form ad on that does the best, even though it's e-commerce, because it's just describing it. People need a little more education. So I'd say test both. Yes. Okay. So let's go ahead. Let me get out of this guy. I'm hitting escape. Okay. There we go. It just needed to be hit a couple times. All right, so finally, what we're going to do is we're going to open a brand new chat, and I'm going to just grab this guy. You can start in ChatGPT or Claude. We've been in ChatGPT, so let me just go ahead. I'm going to go to a brand new chat here, and I'm going to paste this in. Now, because we've kept these very generic, hopefully you guys, and this is my goal in this, you should be able to go ahead and read through, make sure all of these guys match, the file names match. So I'm going to say Webby AI. Right, 10 different, so I'm going to start with angles on this one, right? And now I'm just going to add the photos and files, and it makes it so much easier every time now that I need to go back in. I think I was just in there, but I'm just going to select these guys and upload it. You'll notice too, as you start interacting, these chat threads, the quality, as you know, the token length, the quality gets bad as you go way down the chat thread, and it's so frustrating because you're like, oh my gosh, I've trained this chat thread perfectly, and now I can't even, it's now run out of tokens, and I'm getting really bad results back. Well, it's easy because you just go back up, launch a new chat thread, give it the same information again, and you're ready to go. So this one, I'm going to go ahead. We don't have forum in this, so I have 5 files, I believe. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. Okay. And let me just see, that wasn't even a custom GPT, and it's saying content failed to load. So I don't know what's going on. It might be my computer here. So it's going to read and check this guy out. So just refresh, see if it's going to take a little while. Here we go. Okay, so now this gives me a few different angles to work with. So the still not launched angle. Okay, the problem isn't your offer, it's a presentation you've been avoiding for months. Still sitting on that almost ready webinar. So why it works, I love this, speaks to the shame and delay. Rachel, notice it's referencing our avatar. It's a brand new thread, and it's already really giving me some awesome pain points. Like she feels every day, the shame and delay that she feels every day that she doesn't launch. I mean, my goodness, we all kind of, experience this, right? So this is great. Now, what I would continue to do from here is there are going to be some that, let me just kind of take a look at. Shame, yes, I know, yep, that's happened to me too, right? I mean, these really hit home. So for all of us, I think if we're selling anything online, my goodness, like I love this. While you're tweaking slides, others are making sales. Others are launching, you're tweaking. Let's flip that. And so, this like comparing yourself to others, like these are some really great angles. You can say, give me 10 more.
And just to be clear, these are angles, not like full-on ads. So
For sure.
To power the ad. Okay.
That's right. And let's take a look at how I would, that's a really good question. So let's take a look and say, you know what? Number 1 is awesome. So first of all, I'm going to see, because I said give me 10 more ads. So notice this is, it's continuing on. So stop the writing and rewriting, get the whole thing built. But let's just say that we want to go back to number 1. And I'm going to say, you know what? I'm going to say, give me, I like to get a little bit of feedback. Great. Give me 2 ad copy variations for angle 1. With a lot of text, I like to repeat that angle. Sometimes I don't always. You can try, with or without. Especially if I've gone and said, give me angles, I have like 30 different angles. Sometimes I don't want it to lose the context, so I'll just remind it and say, it's important to say whether you're doing video ads or static ads. When I'm just starting to test, to get engagement and test the angles, static ads are way better than video. There are way more variables to know why video is or isn't working, when all we're trying to do is test the messaging and the angles. So every time for a brand new ad campaign, I'll start with image ads only. So unless there's a video that's just like a sales video, I might test that on its own for an ad. But I don't waste time creating custom message videos that we haven't really tested the messaging. So like if you have a proven offer, maybe you can go do that. But most of us, if we're launching, I'm just going to assume that it's a non-proven offer, or they're at least open to finding messages and angles that work better than what they already have. So we're going to say, give me 2 ad copy variations. that we can use in static image ads on Meta. Okay, so now it's going to say, now it'll break it down. So this is now the top text, still saying I'm almost ready. Months later, you're not alone and you're not broken. You just need a better way to finish the things you've been sitting on. Webby AI builds your entire presentation from hook to close in under 60 minutes. No templates, no copywriting blocks, just a done-for-you sales script and slides that sound like you. Your offer deserves a spotlight. Let Webby build the stage. Like, that's not bad, right? Headlines still sitting on that webinar, fastest way to launch. So this is great. I actually really like variation number 1. I would definitely test that. And now it's kind of calling out to that pain here. So it gives you the loop. Done procrastinating with your webinar yet? Finally launching your sales presentation built for your minutes. I like this one too. I think that's great. So what I would continue to do is go back and forth here with starting with angles and then ads. Now, ads take longer to create, and it's not necessarily, let's just say, I mean, notice these two versions of text are pretty different, but it's still the same angle. And so if you find an angle that works, you can have multiple ads over and over again and just not run out of creative if you really know the angles. That's kind of the mother that you're testing right now, is what angles convert. But of course you need to test the angles via the ad text, but that's why we start with angles and ads and go back and forth, just so you have kind of a mental map of what angles are you testing to start off. Now, the other thing that we can do is we can start with the ads and go back to the angles. So let's try that way, and then this last little bit will wrap us up here. So what I'm going to do is to test. That's a good question, Diane. So I'll cover that in just a moment when we get back to, kind of what do you do with some of these ads. I'll touch on that here as well. So let's see, open up text. What we're going to do is go for the ads now, and let's just go to Claude. So let me go into Claude here. Okay, so once again, I'm going to say I need your help as a high converting meta ads copywriter, 3 different ads to promote Webby AI. And right now we did not have our forum, and I didn't save it with a product name, so I don't need to replace that. I can just get rid of that, but it should now reference everything that we have here. Okay, 5, 6. And now, super easy. I can come in here and just grab these guys, open it up, and that's it. So now let's see, we're going to start with the ads. Now, as I mentioned, I'm asking for 3 different ads, and as you saw in that example, it'll tell me kind of what the angles are. Just takes a little bit of chugging to start. Awesome. Okay, so it's going to come and say, like, I like this too, the procrastination breakthrough. So it immediately comes in, and just like we saw in the presentation slides, Claude is going to be longer, it's more long form text, not bullets, no emojis, and some people respond to that better. The things that are, this is the hook the hook is not the headline. The hook lives within the ad. This is too long for a headline, and it really, you don't want to start with, look, I get it. Like, the hook is actually referring to a copywriting hook, not the headline. So still sitting on that webinar idea you've been working on since February. Look, I get it. It's very conversational. If you look at the tone of voice, it talks about being very conversational. You know you need a sales presentation. You know it could unlock more revenue, but the blank slides, endless drafts, pressure to get it right is paralyzing. Meanwhile, coaches you used to peer group with are launching left and right. You're still watching Amy Porterfield videos for the 3rd time. Like, hey, I pulled that, right? She is great for coaches and consultants if you know her work. So, I mean, if anyone is in the space, that would be an inside joke that they really resonate with. Like, I love this. And so what if you could go from blank page to complete webinar script in 60 minutes, not a template, no more courses, a fully written sales presentation that sounds like you. Writes your entire webinar hook to close using proven frameworks for million in webinar sales. Just answer a few questions, watch your presentation, come to life, stop procrastinating, start presenting. Get your webinar done today, no writing, no stress. That's pretty good, right? That's great. Now, there is no headline for that, so I would ask for it to write a couple headlines. And I can also maybe ask for it to, from here, go and say, I love the procrastination procrastination breakthrough, what are similar ad angles? So from here, it's just a matter of iterating with Claude and with ChatGPT. And I like to look at both, as I mentioned. You can really see in this example here, and also in this presentation, just going back to the results in Claude, same thing. You notice the primary text, and then different angles here. ChatGPT and Claude, very different. Very different kind of results. Both are good. Both are worth testing. So you're looking, ultimately, you want to get ad text that you can test, but angles are a great way for you to isolate kind of what speaks to them most. For the AI Edge Summit, the angle that we went with, and we had multiple versions of text around that, is that so many people, when you look in the AI space, they're talking about prompts and sharing prompts, but it feels very disconnected. So our whole approach for the AI Edge Summit was go from prompts to proven systems. So you don't want prompts, you want results. That angle fueled all kinds of different variations of ads that we tested, but that was the angle that was kind of the mother of them all. So hopefully that's a good example, and we see this here as well. So in this presentation, we're going from, hey, here are, and all of the speakers, and this is true, all of the speakers are saying, hey, here's the system I put in place. It's not, here's my prompt library of 150 prompts. Like, well, great, what am I going to do with that? Like, now I've got all these disconnected marbles that don't sound like me. It's not about my brand. It doesn't really hang together as a business strategy. So all of the speakers at AI Edge Summit were sharing business strategies. So it worked great as an angle for us because it was the thing that people were struggling with, and also it was really the thing that all of our speakers were solving. So that was where we landed. And once we have those base documents, you can go back and forth and get different angles, test different angles. Once you have a winning angle or two, multiple ad copy variations, and back and forth. So Kieran asked, do you use the angles in your creatives, or do you let AI generate text specifically for that? The angles are used within AI to create the ad text. So if we go back to Claude, I went for the ad text first, and the angle here is the procrastination breakthrough. But the ad text would be, forget where it says hook and body, just think it's all still body copy. This would be the top part of the Facebook ad. And then, and actually it would be this whole thing because you want the call to action there as well. So this whole thing would be the Facebook ad. And then what I'm missing here is a headline. So I could say, great, give me 3 headline ideas for ad number 1 that are 50 characters or less. And the reason I want to do this is, like, all right, still stuck on that webinar idea. Webinar is stuck since February. Stop procrastinating, start presenting. So those would be, some good angles to test potentially. But when we look at a Facebook ads, and let me just get one to show you guys. This top text is most of the ad. Facebook has done some eye studies in terms of where do people look when they are consuming a Facebook ad. Almost always, from studying the eye tracking studies, they look at the image, they look at who's talking to me. So they look at the image, they look at your page name, they go back and look at the image again, they read the top text, like they go, oh wait, what is this? Wait, who's talking to me? What is this again? Okay, what are they saying? They look at the details, and then they come last and look at the headline. So the headline in the Facebook ad is really the last thing consumed. It is a very important summary because the last thing they do after they look at the headline is decide whether to click the button or not. But it's not a headline that you would typically think of as the first thing that grabs attention. It's actually the last thing that clicks them over puts them over the edge to click the button. So when we look at, what's that?
You're referring to the headline at the bottom and not the top of the text. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And that's Facebook terminology. This, let me put it here in big mode here. That's what I'm kind of pointing to. This free event, Master AI in 3 days, Practical Strategies. When you're creating a Facebook ad where it says headline, that's the headline section. This is considered primary text. And then this bottom piece is description. You can ignore that. But what we're looking at is the primary text and the headline. So if we go back and look at Claude, you'll notice that this top piece, this entire thing would be on top of the image. This entire, from idea to complete, all the way down to watch the demo. Again, you would kind of ignore the hook and body and CTA, but this whole thing, just those words. But this whole thing would be the top text. But what I'm missing here was that headline. And that headline is, and if we kind of go back to look at this, there's not a lot of room, and especially on mobile, it really should be about 50 characters or less. So that's why I went and said, give me 3 headline variations for ad number 1 that are 50 characters or less, so that I can put that into the bottom. All right, and so this is, like I said, now it's iterating and pulling things out to test. You know, we have gotten, and I will circle back and answer the question about some of the ads. So I knew that we weren't going to have that much time, but I really wanted to get through, and I'm glad we did. Thank you guys for hanging out with me for so long. I had no idea how long it would take, and it was way longer than I thought. But I think it was a good place to cut off, because we got through preparing all of our documents. You got to see some of the fruits of the labor with ads and angles. Now, what we would do after this is to take these, and again, we can possibly have a follow-on, or we'll see how we want to do this, but you would now take these and go to something like ChatGPT and say, give me ideas for this ad. Now, in my presentation, I again encourage you to go back and look at this presentation again, because what you'll do is, let me go to here. So when we are creating ads, there it is, generating ads. So when you're generating ads, you're actually going to ask back and forth for image ideas first, and then you're going to go in and say, great, now create those images. Because you saw how long it took just to create that one image, right? Before, when I was trying to create the avatar image, you don't want to just ask for multiple image variations. You want to say, okay, here's the ad I'm going to test. What are your ideas? And brainstorm with ChatGPT like a partner. What are your ideas for, I'm just looking to see if I have the prompt in here. Yeah, you can look at this from our presentation. I'd like to get your input as a master Facebook ads creator. I'm looking for eye-catching image ideas for offer. And then here's a link to the registration page. And then this, you would typically be in that same thread where you just asked it for ads and angles. And so you can reference and say, hey, it's for this particular ad or this particular angle. You do an ad. So from an ad, from an angle, you create an ad. From the ad itself, you create image ideas. It's going to give you a number of, probably 5 different image ideas. You pick the ones you want, or maybe it's one at a time. But you say, okay, now let's go and create image idea number 1 and see if I have that. Like, all of these were bad for these image ideas that I got out of this particular one. But you would say, okay, see how it gives you ideas, and it actually gives you its own prompt. So now you can actually go through and look at the ideas it suggests, and it'll give you a prompt as part of the suggestion. And out of the 5 suggestions, you go, oh, you know what? I like number 3. Please create a mock-up for number 3. And it'll give you, and because it brainstormed, it knows already what it had in mind, and it created its own prompt, you get way better results out of the gate than trying to think of images on your own and create your own image prompts. So that was what we do here in this. It all builds on itself, one after the other. We've only gotten through step number 2. So I'm going to go ahead and, again, stop sharing. Thank you guys again. But let me look and just see some questions to answer here. So I think I've been keeping up with most of that.
If anyone has questions, feel free to raise your hand. We can pull you up.
Yeah, and real quick, there are a couple here in chat that I didn't answer. So it says, can you quickly talk about KPIs that I look at? The KPIs that I look at are actually very specific to the promotion. So I look at the funnel, and I actually have a revenue map. And the revenue map, I'm looking at key performance indicators from every step a user would take. So from the ad click, like the click-through rate and the cost per click, all the way through, if they land on the page, depending on the type of page, what conversion am I expecting? If it's an opt-in page, I want to see at least 30 to 40% opt-in. If it's direct to sale, I want to see at least, on an e-commerce site, I want to see at least 10 to 12% add to cart. So it really depends on what that funnel looks like. I map out all of the stages of the funnel. I actually put different tracking on every stage of the funnel so I can track the percentages. And I have a revenue model that at every stage of the funnel, I'm looking at the expected percent conversion, so that we as a team, myself and the client, we can look to say, well, if something's not working, where is it not working? If there's something in the funnel that's preventing a sale, you can't fix that with an ad necessarily, most of the time. You have to fix this funnel. So it's a joint approach to troubleshooting someone's funnel. And if I give them a revenue map and we meet and talk about the revenue map on a consistent basis, as a team we're troubleshooting and helping them to get the best business results. And it also it makes everyone in control of the process and part of the process as well. So I didn't mean to dodge the question, but it is highly dependent on the funnel. Let's see.
Will there be an opportunity to go over the tweaking ads part maybe in a later course through?
Yeah, I mean, really, we got through the first 5 steps, really. So I would, ask. I'm happy to come back if Reed and Andy will have me back. I'm happy to, of course, do more.
Yeah, I'm sure we can fit you in to cover the rest.
So Diane asked a good question. How much do you start to test with? I tell you, one of the things I really do so I can test a whole lot of angles is I use a rapid testing process where I'm really only spending $3 to $6 per ad, sometimes even under $1, depending on the type of test I'm doing. Once we find what's really working in this very specific type of campaign, then I'll create conversion ads and put more money behind it. So there is a whole testing approach that can help you minimize budget, but still testing a lot of different angles and images. What is a ChatGPT toolbox on your sidebar? I don't know, actually. Yeah, so 3 to 6 a day, but I'll give you an example. So I've already done the first round of testing for John, and I tested 48 ads on our first round of test, 48 different ads, but 48 different ads at $3 to $6 a day. So our first round of test, we tested maybe just over $200 to find, and there are multiple rounds of testing, and we've gotten enough insight that we can now use conversion ads. So there's a whole kind of testing approach to it, but the whole goal is how do you test a lot of angles on small budget, and not the traditional way of we're going to choose like 3 to 5 angles and put a whole bunch of budget behind each one, let it run for a week and see what generates sales. You can burn through a lot of cash that way. So there are definitely ways of doing rapid fire testing early in the process to help guide your direction and spend for your kind of main promotion. So Sean asked the $297 course I recommended. That's just the Webby AI that we use throughout this whole process is this piece of software that's $297 lifetime. That was just kind of describing the promotion here that I was using as an example in this process. All right, I think I've covered everything in chat, Reed. I know we're super over time. I don't know if there are any last things as we wrap up, but happy to answer anything while I'm here.
Yeah, if you have a question, raise your hand, and otherwise, just share how much you love Victoria in the chat.
No pressure. No. Yeah. Nothing false.
It was definitely maybe quiet comments, but anyone who's listening, there was so much good information in this and actual stuff. I guess my weekend now is figured out trying to digest this all and put it into action.
I love that. Well, I think what I like in this approach, you don't have to have an offer to be able to test the process and get used to. And even knowing this process can help guide you on what your sales pages should be with ads and angles. A lot of times, I'll work with clients and we do interim testing of ads and angles as they're creating their sales page. Like if Reed and Andy, we kept updating the sales page as we had ads and angles that converted better. I would update the sales page text, and it's an iterative process. And so now the sales page, which doesn't change as often, I can really cycle through ads and messaging, find one that works, and then we roll the winner into the sales page. And we split that. Now we have a new split test. Hey, does this new thing that's working in ads beat our control? We have a split test of the sales page. So it just keeps feeding itself. And it optimizes really quickly that way.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Well, guys, thank you. I really appreciate your time and patience and attention today. And hopefully this is helpful. I would love to see you guys go through the process and love to hear your feedback or issues that you hit along the way. Happy to help.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Victoria. I do see one more question here from Delgado.
Did I miss one?
Did you share the prompting chat? It was right before all the accolades you got from everybody. Did you share the prompting chat from your GPT to look over the ads again?
Yes, that is actually in your document. So this brainstorming ads, I have 2 different versions of this. One is to start with your ad angles in ChatGPT or Claude, and the other is to start with your ad text. So brainstorm, I should say ad text here in ChatGPT. And you can start one or the other, and then it's just having a conversation with them about each one. I think that's may have been what you're talking about, but that is also in this document here.
Awesome.
Awesome.
I guess there's one more question about the slides.
So the slides you actually already have. So the slides is the recording of the presentation I gave at the AI Edge Summit. Those are the exact slides in the presentation. I think the whole presentation, me going over the slides start to finish, was, 45 minutes or so? So I would look at the slides from that. There's a lot more explanation. I was using the slides only as kind of setting the context of the detailed step-by-step walkthrough that I went through today. So I definitely recommend looking at the recordings of that.
Awesome. I'll grab the link to your document that you shared because I saw someone asked for that.
And yeah, I'm not sure. So take a look at Natalie's comment, Reed. I'm not really sure about that.
You know what? I will grab your slides from this and make sure they're in the recording section. So that's fine.
Okay, awesome. Yep. All right. Well, everyone, thanks again so much. See you soon.
Take care.
Bye,
Thanks,
everyone.
Victoria.
The recording has stopped.